I know it. He ain't got to tell me I was young back then, but I remember. Hey, I did, Bishop.
How you doing? How you?
Good to see you.
You know my wife, don't you?
I know your wife. How you doing? Good.
Doing good. How you? Good.
Yes, because you know. I know. You like me.
You want to see me? That's what.
Yeah. Citizen of the year, congratulations. Thank you. Look.
Chief Jones. How you doing, man? You doing good?
Nah, appreciate you. God bless you. Appreciate you coming.
We don't show it, but we'll complain.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
So it is 5:03. I'm trying to get some folks on our live. I hope they can. Trying to get some people on our live. Thank those that showed up today. Hey, we put the opportunity out there and we try to let people know what's going on. But this is one of the first ones we had since COVID to kind of open up and let people know some of the things that's going on around the community of Aliceville. We'd like to again welcome everybody here, and without further ado, we're going to get into 3 different topics today. We're going to talk about first the new gun law. The state of Alabama has passed the new gun law, and so it was passed in the previous legislative session. This gun law allows for you to have your weapon with you at all times, and it's not subject to some other rules that it was previously subject to. But I'm going to let Chief Jones get into that. Then we're going to have Lifeline come for a few moments to give some information about Lifeline. Of course, everybody knows that the hospital has shut down, and Lifeline is one of the air routine individuals that will be providing you life-saving assistance in the event that you need their services. Now, we hope that we never need them, but at the end of the day, we all are human and things happen. So we want to make sure that we give them opportunity to talk about their program and try to get you encouraged to sign up for it as an intermediary between you and your medical care. And then finally, I'll end with some updates and ask for some questions for those that may be on live or may be here. And if we don't have it, we plan on wrapping up at 6 o'clock because all meetings are good meetings that last an hour. So, and then we'll close it out and then we'll go from there. So without further ado, Chief Jones.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Just rehashing what the mayor said in reference to new gun law that will be in effect in the state of Alabama. Currently, right now, you all probably have seen different ones walking around either toting a gun on their side, just like law enforcement. Beginning January 1, people would not have to have a pistol permit to open carry, just like as we call it in law enforcement, like the Wild Wild West. Unless different businesses or entities have it posted where individuals not allowed to come into their place of business with firearms, then it would be prohibited. But unless it is posted, they will be able to carry openly at all times. Usually what the pistol permit covers, a lot of sheriffs will tell you about it, different law enforcement. Pistol permit will cause for different training that different officers need, staff need it. But a lot of gun places, gun rights say that really didn't have no need for police to penalize us for having pistol permit. So on the law enforcement side is if, say for instance, with this new gun law, as bad as it sounds for the general public, if we pull your vehicle over, and again, if you ask me, do I hate it? 10,000%, I do hate it. If we pull your vehicle over for some other reason other than your firearm, bad as I hate to admit this again, if your weapon is in plain view, if my traffic stop is not pertaining to your weapon, there is nothing at that particular time that I'll be able to say about your weapon. When in the past, if you had a weapon in plain view, we could ask you in reference to that weapon. So it is somewhat, excuse me, disagreement that you hear a lot of law enforcement would have. But again, for different businesses, if you don't have it posted, you know, even in your banks, your public buildings, and your restaurant, that firearms are prohibited, they will have an opportunity to come up into your different businesses open. And they will have a right because the state of Alabama at that particular time, beginning January 1, it points down where if we see you, stopped you, or detain you with a firearm, we will ask you to produce or show whether you have a permit to carry, and that cover you. Should I say for the state of Alabama, your permit now in certain states, it don't cover out of state. Some out of state, some other states don't honor Alabama permits. But in effect, in January 1, it will be a great loss. Pickens County, I know for a fact that you don't have to go and renew your pistol license because there'll be no need for a pistol permit. But again, for the different businesses, business owners, if you don't have a problem with people coming in your place of business with the gun, then if it's not posted, then they can't come in. I was in a big meeting not too long ago, probably 6 months ago, and around the table discussing the reference to it. Me, myself personally, I don't have a problem with a person carrying a gun. My statement was, I have a problem with an idiot carrying a gun, or a person that shouldn't have a gun, shouldn't be carrying a gun. There's certain persons forbidden to carry a gun. Now, I must say, if you are a convicted felon, maybe having prior felonies in the past, you're prohibited again from possession or even being in the vicinity of a firearm. So there is still some fine print, but believe it or not, we're gonna fall into it. We're gonna know that there's gonna be a lot of people that still gonna get to the edge and jump over the edge and feel like, well, this is a new law, and I can carry a gun. I will advise you again, please, ma'am, please, sir, don't do it. Your different churches, I say again, you'll be surprised at the people that's carrying in the churches. Again, I don't have a problem with that. Again, people carrying in the church, but everybody, even in the church, don't need to be carrying in the church, because you don't know who's capable or who's competent enough, even in your churches, to carry also inside of your different churches. So we have to be real careful in allowing who we allow to carry inside of our churches. It can be somebody in the church that you feel comfortable with, but everybody don't need to know who that particular person that's carrying. But again, under the new law that will be in effect January 1, less than a couple of weeks away. You see it more and more now. It's kind of like setting the tone for what's to expect. I see it all the time. People with blue jeans, either tennis shoes, t-shirt, and shorts on with a gun, kind of raise the bar. Well, I am, kind of make me grow up a little bit. But I guess from my point, I just want you all to be careful. And if Aliceville have that slogan, if you see something, say something, do something. If you feel somewhat frightened by a person, carrying a gun, don't hesitate. I say it all the time, don't hesitate to still contact 911, say, hey, this person is carrying, believe it or not only handguns, long guns, AR-15, assault type rifles, they can carry. We have several, I must say, that call our local 911 every time they get ready to walk and say, hey, this is John Doe, Susie Q. I'm about to walk down the railroad track, and I just want you all to know that I do have my AR-15. And believe it or not, as sad as it is to say, there's nothing we can do about it because they did call, and it is legal that they can.
We do have two questions. One is, if you purchased a 5-year permit, will the state refund your money back?
Probably not.
Gotcha. And the second question is, if a business does not want to have open carry in their personal business, like the local banks, if the bank or the Tranquility Pool or Loud or whatever, or Kennedy's Place, whatever downtown, if they said we don't want that, can they still post that and it would be enforceable in their building only, or would it? How would that work?
It will be if they say that they don't want them and they do post it, then they are prohibited from coming inside their business with that firearm.
I have a question. Is it just open carry or concealed?
So
I have a question. I'm not familiar with the gun laws, and I'm not familiar with buying guns. I might need to get me a gun. But let's say if I want to go to the local gun store and buy a gun, that's all I have to do is have the money and buy it and walk out, and I can carry.
They still have a they'll do somewhat of a check, okay. but the check now is a whole lot shorter than it used to be. It used to be you have sometimes I think it was 24, 48, even 72 before you can walk out. But now you don't have to wait 24, 48, 72. Then again, you do have certain persons, and the question came up a lot of time. Well, who can determine that person is that person that's not able or forbidden to carry? If they legally, as the community would say, as we would say, legally on paper, incompetent to carry a gun, mentally disturbed, they are prohibited as well.
Please explain what you just said, mentally disturbed. Does that mean if they are on antidepressants, like SSRIs, selective serotonin intake prohibited. Does that include that or not?
Well, it kind of varies. If medical, I would say doctors, would deem that that person is incapable mentally, that they shouldn't possess or carry a firearm, then we would know, because then we would have that information from that doctor saying that that person should not, carry, because there have been instances, even in the past, where the courts will advise us to even go out and obtain all of the weapons due to the doctor prescribing that individual not being able or should be able to possess firearms.
Great question. Anybody got any more questions about the gun law? And also the chief is available through the day. If anybody has any questions online, or who are here, I'm sorry, I got my back to you. Or has any questions here, he will be able to answer whatever your question is. And then that way you can get more in depth, because after you go home and go to sleep, if you like me, you're gonna think about something and then say, well, let me ask him. So that's perfectly fine. You can call the city hall and we'll make sure we get that question answered. And we want to thank Chief for him giving us that update about weapons. And if there's no other questions, anything you want to close it out, Chief, or you got anything else?
Got just one last question.
Okay, yeah.
With when you talk about young people that will have that same opportunity to carry firearms, is there something in place that if they start acting erratic with it, or they start doing things, or people have turned in a report saying this person is doing pulling a gun or just doing stuff, is there some way of actually taking that from them, being able to say, if you get 1-2 strikes, then you're not able to carry a gun again, or something like that? Is there anything in place for that?
So we gonna re-ask the question?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was saying, if somebody comes up and they are a habitual offender of just pulling out their gun, kids, youth who may get a gun and just pull it out and wave it around, say, hey, I got a gun, is there any penalty for that, as far as stopping them from carrying a weapon? Is that what you was asking? Okay.
To answer that, you're still going to have criminal laws that will prohibit you from just being menaced, like pulling your gun. If I can just be honest, to kind of flip it a little bit, not only that individual will have a gun, another individual will have a gun. So with that, I go back to what I said earlier. If you see something like that, then you got to say something. You got to go ahead and address it on the top, and then we can address it. Because right now, for as City of Allisville, I can speak for the City of Allisville. In a case scenario like that, if you are detained or arrested, you use the terminology detained in a juvenile. If we take your gun for that criminal reason here in the City of Allisville, you go to court, go through the court system, go through the court process. Our city judge right now, he don't give you gun back.
Well, piggyback on Mr. Kennedy here, is it not a law against kids even having guns?
There is an age limit.
Okay.
There is an age, but if we be honest, you can get a gun on the street quicker than you can from the store purchasing.
Yeah, but we talking about just going around carrying it, like you can see it,
Right.
like
That-
a 17-year-old
they
going
can't do
around with it.
21.
Great questions. Great question. Well, thank you, Chief. I appreciate you staying. Thank you for giving us that information. We want to make sure that we put it out there so people can hear it, know it, and at least start the conversation about it. And this might not be our only time we talk about it. We might have something else to kind of refamiliarize people with it. But up next, I'm gonna have a representative from I don't want to say, is it
Air evac.
Air Evac? Okay, I was saying Life Flight, but
Yeah, no, it's all right.
from Air Evac, and he's gonna come up. So feel free to come up wherever you stand. I'll put the camera on you, my friend.
Okay. Official now. Good. I don't sing. Good evening. Thank you all so much for having us. We brought the chopper, so if anyone needs a ride to the hospital, we can help y'all out with that. No, we are from Air Evac, which is part of the Air Medcare network, which is about 320 bases across the country that specialize in first response. When you have an emergency or if you're in an accident and you need to get to level 1 trauma as quickly as possible, we're who shows up and pick you up. And basically what we do is save you time when it's most valuable. And so, help you save your life, help you save limbs, and those of your loved ones. That obviously that kind of treatment and response isn't inexpensive. And even with the best insurance, there's a lot of denials, there's co-pays, there's limits. And I don't know if anybody has had any experience with flying and the bills that come afterwards, but or heard stories. But it's like you get the helicopter for a heart attack, and then you get another heart attack when you get the bill.
You're right.
We do what we can to try and keep those costs down, but a flying ambulance obviously isn't going to be cheap. So, but one of the things that we do in order to give you peace of mind and to make sure that you don't have to worry about those bills is we are one of the few people that allow memberships. And so membership, basically, at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about any out-of-pocket expense if you or anyone in your household is flown. And so, talking about those denials, those co-pays, those limits, or even if you don't have insurance, you don't have to worry about a thing. So it's it's really inexpensive when you start thinking about it. So we encourage everyone, especially if you're out, in God's country like this, where the odds go way up of needing a flight. So it's an annual cost for your whole house is $85. And like I said, that covers everyone in the house. We do have senior citizens discounts. Doesn't look like anyone here would qualify, but if you are over 60, it's $65. But I will say, put a little sense of urgency out there. Like everything else in the world, prices are going up. And January 1st, we're having a price increase of $20. So, if you're thinking about it, you need some encouragement. I wouldn't wait because it's only going to get more expensive. But we do actually now offer multi-year, so you can buy a 3-year, a 5-year, or a 10-year membership, and so you basically that locks in your price today for the next 10 years up to. So would encourage y'all to do that as well. I've got applications here. I can give you more information about where to go online if you'd like to do something online. But
so if they need to go online, where would they need to go online for our online people?
Yeah, so we would go to AMCN, which stands for Air Medcare Network, rep.com. And then you can put in my name after the /Richard/Pete. Yeah, see it.
AMCN rep.
Yeah, right. It's right down here.
Okay. All right.
Is that on the application?
Yes, sir. I've got a bunch more applications for anyone who wants one. So this isn't just good here. This is good anywhere we fly across the country. Like I said, we've got about 320 bases all across the country. So if you're traveling and you have an accident and you pick up by one of our providers, then there'll be no out-of-pocket expense whatsoever.
Let me ask you a question about
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what if, for instance, someone is in an accident and we're picked up by a helicopter?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know if it's your provider, and how do we know or get our money back if we have you as our provider and somebody else picked us up?
Right. So you would, if possible, you would want to tell the dispatch if you call 911. You can certainly say, "Hey, we're Air Medcare Network. members, please send please dispatch one of those helicopters. Obviously, in those instances, the priority is saving your life. And, there's no guarantee it will be out at one of ours if we happen to be, on a call someplace else, or, if we're not one of the closest. I know around here, we are, and the first responders here can probably speak to that a little better than I can, but, I think we're sort of the bases that cover this area, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if it's around here, it's going to be us more than likely.
And just to piggyback on that great question, to piggyback on that, the Pickens County 911, they are the first call for Pickens County 911. So the only reason they wouldn't come out is if they are not available. There's another good question somebody had brought up was as far as certain types of calls that you are available to pick up and do things on, and certain that you're not. So cardiac arrest or whatever. Can you kind of speak on some of that?
Well, that's probably a better question for some of my first responders here. But typically, the decisions to dispatch the helicopters are not made by the person calling. It's made by the people who answer the 911 calls. And I will say it seems like more often than not, though, they're dispatching the helicopter just as an abundance of caution kind of thing. They'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, sort of thing. So, would you guys like to add anything to that?
Alan wants to talk.
Yeah. But
Floor's yours.
hey,
Okay, so to answer the questions on what we can and cannot transport, we cannot transport that may cause a threat in flight to either ourselves or the patient. Somebody having an active seizure, we would have to make sure that seizure is treated and everything before we can leave. The reason the cardiac arrest we can't fly is because it's detrimental to the patient. And that is because for the 2 minutes that we take off and the 2 minutes before we land the aircraft, we're in a safety time frame where we have to be belted in and looking out for other aircraft and obstacles. And so CPR would stop during that. And 4 minutes of CPR on a flight would be detrimental to the patient.
Okay.
And typically we can do better care in a stable area outside of the aircraft as far as working a cardiac arrest. Anybody else have any questions medically about what we need?
So you really have to be stable to get in the helicopter, basically. That's what you're telling me.
I would like to say that's true. No, you do not have to be stable, but you need to have your heart needs to be functioning. So we can't be up and doing chest compressions to help in that. Most other things we can do, we can treat. We can do most of our innovations and medical interventions while we're flying if needed. That's just one that we can't do. But if anybody's ever seen an epileptic seizure, they can get pretty violent. We have to make sure we treat that again for the safety of the crew. Our safety and safety of the patient, precedes everything else that we do.
So don't have a heart
so yeah, I think most of the high points there. But and you shouldn't have to do anything in terms of the billing aspect. If you've flown by us and get a bill, a lot of times you get something that's an explanation of benefits. It's not really a bill, but we have a whole team and a huge building full of people at home office. That's what they do is advocate for patients and sort of fight on your behalf with insurance and to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. But meanwhile, you're just behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about a thing in terms of the helicopter flight and any charges, that stem from it. So it's just great peace of mind, and one of those things you buy, you hope you never have to use. But I've just talked to so many people that that have had to use it for themselves or for their kids, and they're still paying off those bills. So they wouldn't have, obviously they wanted it to save their lives, but it's still quite a chunk of change at the end of the day. So it's so easy to avoid all that with a membership. So strongly encourage you guys to do that. And like I said, I'll be here. I've got applications. Can take your information today and get you signed up. That way you're covered. The second you give it to me, you're covered. So on your way home, you've got that peace of mind. So, any other questions?
And just as a reminder, that $85, if you're not senior, covers not just you, but just
anyone who lives with you.
All right.
Yeah, family or not. So, yeah, if they live with you, they are covered.
Well, I thank you, Mr. Richard. We appreciate you for giving us that information. And again, he's gonna be here. Can you leave some booklets with us so that way we can try to get that in? And I'm sorry I'm playing cameraman duty, but my help had some other things lined up tonight. So I guess I gotta talk. Yes. Again, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you everybody for coming. We try to get some positive information out to our people of Adlersville to let them know some of the top things that's going on. I'm just gonna touch on one thing with the gun law. This and it's gonna have that's a reason behind why I'm saying what I'm saying. Senator Gerald Allen is the senator that wrote this bill. All right. So Senator Gerald Allen is the one who wrote this gun bill. Senator Gerald Allen is your senator. All right. He's Pickens County senator. All right. So he has the power to write a bill. Just remember that because it's gonna come back to that on the state level. This passed. All right. And as far as our lifelike, all of our senior citizens. I'm gonna sign up for my grandma. I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna sign some other folks up because it's worth it. Like I said, and people might kind of wonder what the bills might be for a helicopter. And I'm not putting their business out there, but in general, one of those rides, and this is coming from me, like they didn't say it, I did, is about $40,000 to $60,000. For a ride, just for mileage. We ain't even talking about medicine that they give you. We talking from Adlersville to Tuscaloosa is $40,000 to $60,000. All right. So paying $85 now, that's a good. Them make Vegas odds. Those are pretty decent odds. So I would encourage you to consider it. They're one of the few that do it. I don't think the other company that comes in has an opportunity like this. So this is the one that does, and they are the primary contact for Pickens County. So I just want to kind of get that out there. I'm gonna be as brief as possible on the questions. If someone asks a question online, I'll have to come back and answer your question after we complete the session. So please don't think I ignored your question or concern. Just to give a few updates about what we've done over the year. 2022 has been a long year. 2022 has been a really long year. We faced some challenges, but we've all met them head on. And I'd like to thank the city council members for their support, and also to the leadership of Adlersville, Chief Jones, Miss Danica McCaw, Mr. Quentin Prue, to Mr. Hall in the water department, to even Ms. Tackett at the natural gas, the manager of natural gas. These people are the backbone of Adlersville. So I like to thank them for doing what it is that they do, and their support staff. So they got a great staff that work with them, from the police officers, the city workers, to the water crew, and also natural gas crew, as well as many others that help do things. This year, we've had some good things as far as our business and industry that have come up. We've had a number of businesses that have came and opened
under the city of Aliceville, business such as Kennedy's Dining. They opened up businesses such as Tranquility Pools, has opened up Drax, which is a new company across the pond, across the river, as we like to say. And they are a multi-million-dollar company, the largest company that is actually in the world for pellets. So we thank them for doing what they do. And they have even more jobs that are looking to come to the city of Aliceville. So we're trying to continue to expand upon that. Also, we have current companies in town who are looking to expand their businesses, and we look forward to some announcements to having some new jobs with those companies, as well as some positive investments in the community that's gonna help make Aliceville a little bit better. Instead of trying to attack this through people who are already in the office or just myself, previously the city had economic developer. That economic development concept went away for a few years, and so we're trying to gain it back. So Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Frederick Kennedy, is our economic developer for the city of Aliceville. And over the course of the last almost year, he has been working to try to bring different companies in, trying to ensure that the companies we have stay. Because a lot of times we focus on bringing things in, but we want to make sure the companies that we got are ready to stay and come in. So we come up with a lot of trying to come up with ways to do that. We had a business summit to try to bring businesses in. We'll be having another one on January the 11th, and it will be an opportunity for businesses to come, get information from resources that we're bringing across the state, and come in and try to help make your business succeed. So since we talked a little bit about healthcare, kind of going into that, healthcare, of course, COVID-19 was on the back end. We had a lot of issues with trying to get transportation to and from. Lifeline and AirEvac has been a great godsend. There's been a lot of people who have saved their lives from that, but we still got hospital issues. Anybody who knows or reads the Pickens County Herald know that a group of us went to Montgomery to let the governor know that we need $10 to $15 million to try to reopen our hospital. And that's where, remember that guy I was talking about before, Jared Allen comes in. All right. So Jared Allen got the juice to pass a bill statewide to make this gun law. So Jared Allen need to put those wheels and grease them so that way Pickens County can have a hospital. It ain't no qualms about it. I don't care if you whatever. I ain't mayor don't. When you the mayor, they don't ask are you Democrat or Republican. They just want they stuff fixed, right? So I don't care if you Democrat or Republican. We just need that hospital fixed. So so I say that to say those who are watching, get online. I'm gonna repost it. It's back on some other stuff. Call Jared Allen. Tell him to make this happen. It's the money where we will get this from is from the recovery plan money, and they're getting over $2 billion, billion with a B, $2 billion. And if they can't squash out 10 to 15 million for not Aliceville, but for Pickens County to have a hospital, then something is wrong. All right. So we need, but I can't do it by myself. You guys are gonna have to be the ones to help advocate for this. And there's a number that you can call for Mr. Allen and let him know that. All right. Now I will continue to do it, but it means a lot when it comes for you guys. Also, we recruited a healthcare facility to come in, Watley Health Service. It is a clinic. It's not a hospital, but it is an additional health source for the city of Aliceville. So that way we can have resources to try to make our people a little bit better. All right. And then last but not least, I will also say on healthcare, we appreciate Dr. Parker and we appreciate Dr. Robbins' office. Dr. Robbins' office is still open. We know he passed away. His son passed away rather. And but they are open Mondays through Friday still. They are still serving the community of Aliceville, and they said they want to stay here for the foreseeable and unforeseeable future. So we don't have to worry about losing those two people. But one thing they have said, and I'm going to mention, is please, ma'am, please, sir, take your medicine. If you are hypertension sensitive, take your medicine. If you are diabetic, take your medicine, because what they are seeing is patients who are my age, who's 35, old 35 folks, as well as the seasoned generation, 70s, 80s, who are prescribed medicine but are not taking it. And when they come to their offices, they're borderline, got to send you out through the life light, or else they might pass away. So please, ma'am, please, sir, take your medicine. If they got prescribed it to you, take it. Jesus is a doctor. God is a heart regulator. And all, I know that. But guess what? He put doctors on earth to help us out just a little bit, all right? So I'm just being real as I know how to be. I know that's the preacher came out of me. I'm sorry. But please, ma'am, please, sir, take care of yourself. Education and recreation. We have continued to encourage all our kids around Aliceville to get active, not only through the school programs at the high school and the elementary school, but also with different youth activities. We recruited and tried to retain the Boys and Girls Club to come to Aliceville. And after a lot of talking and talks, we finally got them to come to the city of Aliceville. This summer, they averaged about 150 or 160 kids every day this summer. So that's 150, 60 kids that are not on the streets walking around doing something nefarious. So we appreciate them. They also have a program now that started yesterday. That will be for Boys and Girls Club after school. So it's a minimal fee to sign up. If you don't have it and you need it, they have financial means to get it. So we're trying to give our kids some more things to do. Also with our soccer league, we're going to expand hopefully this year to do some flag football, because that's something that's big. I didn't know that flag football was a state championship worthy thing, but they have a 7A state championship for flag football for girls, and that kind of blew my mind. So we're going to try to do flag football as well as maybe basketball later on this fall. And then also, as far as education goes and information, earlier this year, we opened up a new career center in our library. We had the state director of the Department of Labor come, and he opened it, and it was a lot of fanfare, but that just gives resources for people who are looking for jobs, looking for things to do, to come in and do that. And every Wednesday, they have a representative that comes to the city of Aliceville to give you help on resumes, give you help on whatever it is that you need. As far as infrastructure and civic duties, everybody knows, one of the goals was to try to pave some roads, and we achieved that goal. It was a multi-million-dollar project, and we had to work together, and we appreciate everybody's patience about things that went wrong and waiting to get the driveways fixed back up and all those things. But I think the final output, everybody seems to be a little happy, and they're so happy that we see them speed a little bit. So we want to encourage you to go to speed limit. Even though there's some smooth roads, we have put some speed bumps in strategic places, and we have not finished doing that. We're going to continue to do that, but we want to make sure that we mention that. Also, we've updated our weather siren. It was having some issues, so we finally updated it. So you probably heard it last week when it was clear outside and y'all wondering was something going on. It wasn't anything going on. They were just testing it to make sure that everything worked. And everybody in Aliceville can hear the siren now. And that's a blessing, because we had to put our officers and send them out to go and ride in neighborhoods. And so if a tornado's coming and our officers are riding in the neighborhood, that's not a good combination. So we want them to be safe so that if something happens, they can go ahead and respond. And that's okay. And as far as city and civic engagement, we've done a number of different things this year. We're a part of ACE, Alabama Communities of Excellence, and that's going to require some people to put some helping hands in to make our city an ACE community, which will open up opportunities for grants, open up opportunities for people to come and set their business here. So we want to make sure we let that information be known. And then we bought some equipment. I know everybody was looking to try to find, we had cut sidearm grass for a while. So we heard your call. We knew it was coming. We bought it. We got a tractor, and we took care of those areas that we've been able to accomplish and get that taken care of. So kind of what are we trying to look at doing, improving in 2023 is increase civic engagement, trying to get more people to come in and come to things like this, involve all of our population, so that way we look like the community that we are. And then also to continue to share information with our citizens, seeking grants. This year we've gotten over $1 million worth of grants this year, and we're gonna keep trying to push it because that's how we survive, unless other things happen. And then continue to update and recruit businesses and update our city codes and policies. So those are some of the things that we're gonna try to look forward to building on in 2023. And again, like I said, things like the door deck or the outside decoration contest. We thank those that are participating in the Christmas tree lighting thing that we're doing out of the parade of trees. We thank business. That's something new that we're doing. So we want to see and do what other communities are doing. Then we have to be willing to put in some time and effort. And it can't just be one person to do it. I'm not gonna try to do it all. My staff can't do it all. We can't pay everybody to do it all. But if we have some people that volunteer, if you volunteer 5 minutes or an hour out of your time, believe me, that helps us out a whole lot. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up to the floor. And our total calls for Pickens County was 353 calls, and that was this year as of today. So that's a fantastic number. And most of those people were saved because if they had to drive, it might have been a different situation. So with that, I'm gonna open up the floor to kind of hear some questions or concerns that anybody want to say. Like I said, everybody thinking here, I almost got my cell phone number, so I know how to call me. And I'm not gonna belabor if everybody is good. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I don't have any questions or comments. I just want to thank you all for all the good job that you're doing. I appreciate it.
That's it. Well, to God be the glory. Like I said, it ain't us. It's all them. And with that being said, I don't believe in long meetings. I told y'all. So we're gonna close out the meeting. But again, we want to thank everybody for being here. Please don't forget about Lifelight. We're gonna get a few more brochures. And at some other events, we're gonna try to invite you. That some people we're gonna try to kind of fool them into getting it because they don't know that they need it, but they really need it. So and throw some food out there if people want to come and do some things maybe. So but with that being said, thank y'all for coming, and this ends our meeting tonight.
Thank you, Chief.
There's three.
I'd like to read.
You know somebody.
I know.